Good afternoon. I call this meeting of the Michigan Public Service Commission to order at 1:30 p.m. on September 11th, 2019. Before we ask Madam Secretary to call the roll, I just want to introduce her officially. A couple weeks ago, we announced that Lisa Felice is the Michigan Public Service Commission's new executive secretary. She comes to that role with tremendous amount of experience and knowledge, handling a whole host of responsibilities in that area in the executive business section. So we're delighted to have her in this new capacity. Always positive and about change and other improvements here at the Commission. So welcome and congratulations. All right, so Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Talberg.
Present.
Commissioner Scripps.
Present.
Commissioner Phillips.
Present.
Madam Chairman, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. And speaking of new people at the Commission, Tremaine Phillips joined us. Governor Whitmer announced Commissioner Phillips' appointment to the Commission in July, and he began here September 9th, earlier this week. So third day on the job. We welcome you. We're very excited. Just terrific background, and both in your education and your experience, and we're really delighted to have you join us. Do you have any initial comments?
I do. Just a couple of brief remarks, and I did not get lost coming to the hearing room today, so that is good.
That's good.
And I know we have a lot on our agenda this afternoon, but I just would like to thank Chairman Talberg and Commissioner Scripps for being so welcoming and really being so helpful during this quiet and uneventful week here at the Commission. I also want to thank the incredibly resourceful and engaged staff here at the Commission. The state energy assessment released today is a prime example of the technical expertise and the talent on our staff. And I continue to be inspired by the level of commitment to public service and this institution that is on display here at the Commission. So thank you very much again. And I look forward to working with all of you, working with our commissioners and working with our stakeholders as we continue our collective effort to be stewards of the energy and telecommunications industries here in the state of Michigan. So thank you very much again.
Great, welcome. All right, so first up, we have approval of the agenda. And Commissioner Scripps, I think we need to amend the agenda. So
we do. Madam Chair, I move to amend the agenda by deleting the references to final order in item 4A2 regarding case numbers U20500, U20516, U20558, U20565, and U20575.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The amendment is approved.
Madam Chair, I move to approve today's agenda as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The agenda as amended is approved. Item 2, is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
Madam Chair, I move approval of the minutes of the Commission meeting of August 20th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The meeting minutes are approved. Next up, item 3, approval of orders on the consent agenda. And today the Commission is assisted by Attorney Kelly Barber Dodge and staff.
Good afternoon. Today's consent agenda consists of 2 communications matters, 3 electric matters, 1 gas matter, and 1 general matter. The proposed orders for each of these matters have been thoroughly vetted by the Commission's technical and legal staffs and are ready for your approval.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the orders on today's consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The orders are approved.
Item 4A1 is case number U20609, which involves a request for a declaratory ruling filed by Hemlock Semiconductor Operations, LLC. The order before you grants the request for a declaratory ruling and finds that withdrawal from the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator, Inc., Q, by a customer who has entered into a long-term industrial load rate contract does not prohibit that customer and the contracting utility from showing compliance with certain statutory provisions under MCL 460-10GG and a later contested proceeding seeking approval of the contracted load rate.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the order in case number U20609.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
The order is approved.
Item 4A2 is case number U20615 et al., which involve an application by Consumers Energy Company requesting ex parte approval of a settlement agreement resolving outstanding issues related to the Public Utility Regulatory Policies Act of 1978. Staff member Mike Byrne is here to describe this order.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Mike Byrne, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Michigan Public Service Commission. Case number U-20615 involves an application by Consumers Energy for approval of a settlement agreement resolving issues related to its PURPA interconnection queue. PURPA is a federal law enacted in 1978 which requires electric utilities to purchase power from certain independent power producers at rates which reflect the utility's avoided cost, i.e. the costs the utility would have paid to produce or purchase the power themselves. After initially setting avoided cost rates in the 1980s and 1990s, the MPSC began a process to review and update PURPA avoided cost rates in 2015. The Commission set updated avoided cost rates for Consumers Energy using the hybrid proxy methodology based on the cost of a natural gas plant in case number U-18090. As a result of the updated avoided cost rates, Consumers Energy's interconnection queue grew to over 3,500 megawatts of proposed PURPA projects, mostly solar. Consumers was inundated with interconnection requests, while developers were frustrated at the lack of progress in bringing projects online. Many developers filed complaints with the Commission in order to prompt consumers to act more quickly and intervene in Consumers' Integrated Resource Plan case in an attempt to resolve issues in a global fashion. The MPSC approved Consumers' IRP in June. The IRP revised PURPA provisions related to the standard offer tariff and created a framework providing for the results of future competitive solicitations to set the company's avoided cost rates on a going forward basis. However, issues related to the existing PURPA queue were not resolved. On August 8th, Consumers Energy filed a settlement agreement in case number U-20615, which includes signatories representing 3,300 megawatts, or about 94% of the existing PURPA interconnection queue. Signatories to the agreement have agreed to an allocation process, which will award 584 megawatts of projects to developers in the queue and will allow for an expedited interconnection study process to facilitate projects coming online more quickly. 5 open complaint cases before the MPSC will be withdrawn by developers who have signed onto the agreement, while an appeal of a previous Commission order pending before the Court of Appeals will be withdrawn by another developer. Additionally, all signatories to the settlement agree not to challenge Consumers Energy's approved IRP. The order before you today, in case number U-20615 et al., approves the settlement agreement, finding that it is in the public interest and represents a fair and reasonable resolution of the proceeding. It also allows for any developer that is in the queue but is not signed on to the agreement to have the ability to do so during a 30-day window following the Commission's approval of today's order, or they can choose not to and pursue claims related to the queue outside of the settlement process. And I just want to finish by saying that the settlement agreement reflects a tremendous amount of effort and willingness to find compromise on behalf of the parties to the case. It allows for the avoidance of costly and time-consuming litigation and instead moves us towards bringing up to 584 megawatts of new solar resources online within the next few years. And with that, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present this order today.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move approval of the order in case number U-20615 et al.
Second.
I just have a few comments. So first of all, Mike, thank you for your leadership on this case and all the related issues dealing with PURPA. This uncontested settlement involves the Commission staff, Consumers Energy, solar developers, and it's really unique in terms of the approach and ability to resolve a host of issues that have been longstanding contentious disputes. The Solar Energy Industries Association also signed on as a signatory. You talked about avoiding litigation. That's not an insignificant outcome of this, and just the ability to chart a path forward for significant solar energy development in the state at a time we have a lot of plants closing and transitioning our power supplies is really important. We've had several years here of outstanding, challenging, contentious cases involving the implementation of PURPA, and this order today brings much needed certainty. and both on the regulatory front and from a market perspective. So I appreciate the leadership of staff in helping to forge this compromise. I know the commission has a longstanding policy to support settlements. They're not always, they don't always make sense depending on the situation, but this is a case where I wholeheartedly support this settlement and looking forward to moving forward to see these developments progress. And thank you. With that, is there any other comments? No?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The order's approved. Thanks.
Items 4A3 through 4A7 and items 4B1 and 2 involve matters related to the final statewide energy assessment. Staff member Pat Pulley is here to describe these orders.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. On February 7th, the Commission issued an order in docket number U20464 in response to a request from Governor Gretchen Whitmer for the Commission to review the state's energy supply and preparedness for emergency situations following a string of energy events during the cold weather emergency that occurred in late January. On July 1st, the Commission provided the Governor the initial statewide energy assessment. Multiple stakeholders provided comment on the initial assessment, which the Commission reviewed and considered. Among minor updates, corrections, and adjustments, the final assessment includes additional information and background on the resilience of distributed energy resources, older distribution infrastructure, capacity imports in the Lower Peninsula, cybersecurity in Michigan and insider threats, and the value of resilience improvements. The assessment also includes a new recommendation for protecting critical energy infrastructure information and enhancing information sharing. In total, the assessment makes 37 jurisdictional recommendations and 15 non-jurisdictional observations. 8 of the orders before you today begin the first steps in implementing several of the report's recommendations, and I will lead with the docket opened for this assessment. With that in mind, the order before you in case number U20464 accepts and adopts the final statewide energy assessment and directs Commission staff to work with utilities to propose gas demand response tariffs in the utilities' next round of gas rate cases filed subsequent to this order. The order also provides the foundation and context for new dockets mentioned next. The order before you in case number U20147 directs staff to study the value of resilience in the distribution planning stakeholder process and to file a report in this docket by April 1st, 2020, providing recommendations for the Commission to include as guidance for the next round of distribution plans. The order also extends the filing date, the file-by date for DTE Electric and Consumers Energy for the second round of their distribution plans from June 30th, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, allowing for a longer stakeholder process and for coordination, at least for Consumers Energy, in the filing of their next IRP and distribution plan. The order also directs I&M to file their next distribution plan by June 30th, 2021. The order before you in case number 20628 opens the docket and directs staff to form a collaborative group with interested stakeholders to review and discuss information contained in the assessment regarding the reasons for the poor participation of demand response resources to the Polar Vortex 2019 event and to discuss ways to improve future participation and performance. The group will also consider optimizing coordination between stakeholders, customer communications, and potential revisions to utility tariffs, as well as any other related issues relevant to demand response as a tool for achieving the Commission's goals of reliability and resilience. A report on the findings and recommendations of the collaborative will be filed in this docket by July 31st, 2020. The order before you in case numbers U20629 and U20630 open the respective dockets and direct staff to form work groups to review the current service quality and reliability standards for electric distribution service and a second work group to review the current technical standards for electric service. The work of these groups will provide a foundation for potential future route changes that are flexible and responsive to changing technology while ensuring safe and reliable electric service. Preliminary reports of initial findings and recommended updates are to be filed by April 30th, 2020, with final reports filed by September 1st, 2020. The order before you in case U20631 opens the docket and directs staff to establish a collaborative with stakeholders to review and discuss the development of mutual aid agreements to have in place for all natural gas distribution utilities. The group will also discuss how to facilitate the development of transmission contingency planning. A report regarding the findings and recommendations relative to the development of mutual aid agreements will be filed in this docket by March 31st, 2020. A report on the findings and recommendations related to the discussions on transmission contingency planning will be filed to this docket by March 31st, 2021. The order before you in case number U20632 opens the docket and directs staff to commence a collaborative with stakeholders to review and discuss whether natural gas curtailment procedures should be updated to prioritize natural gas for residential heating over natural gas use for electric generation when appropriate during energy emergencies. Included in this discussion will be a review of whether natural gas curtailment procedures need to be updated to reflect the current regional transmission organization market structure and the adequacy of natural gas and electric curtailment procedures. The group will review and study existing curtailment tariffs, determine if prioritizations remain adequate, and develop recommendations for the Commission regarding possible updates to the tariffs. A report of the initial recommendations will be filed in this docket no later than June 30th, 2020. The final assessment-related order before you, in case U number 20539 et al., directs natural gas utilities filing applications for approval of gas cost recovery, or GCR plans, to include additional information to address expanded peak day worst-case scenarios. Specifically, utilities will need to go beyond describing how the company would serve a peak day during a colder than normal winter. This expanded peak day shall consider contingency options for resilience at key facilities and more resilient peak day plans. In addition, the plan should contemplate other contingencies in addition to and occurring at the same time as design day weather during a colder than normal winter and provide in support of a proposed GCR plan, a detailed explanation of the additional steps the company has taken or would take to maintain service during such an incident. Finally, the utility shall include projections of any added costs that would result from these expanded planning actions. Lastly, I wanted to mention that the dockets referenced today, which establish collaboratives or work groups, will be available as separate web pages on the MPSC website. Details will be forthcoming.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the order in item 4B1, case number U20464.
Second.
And I'll talk about this generally in the context of this vote. First of all, Patricia Poley, you did a fabulous job leading a large team here at the Commission during a time when we had a lot of heavy workload to develop this report. We just appreciate your commitment and leadership. I met you years ago when you were spearheading the 21st Century Energy Plan, so it was an obvious go-to person that we knew you could produce such high-quality work under compressed timeframes. I also just want to acknowledge the effort by our team to develop outreach and communication materials to help disseminate information to the governor's team, state agencies, the legislature, media, stakeholders, and the general public in this as we release both the initial report and this final one today. Our attorneys have been busy developing orders to implement, as we have on our agenda today, a number of the recommendations, and we're taking immediate moves to implement this report. This report represents the best of what we do here at the Commission, and it's fundamental to our mission. It's a comprehensive, objective assessment with concrete recommendations for improvement. Drawing on the lessons from the energy emergency during the extreme polar vortex conditions last winter and the fire at the Ray compressor station in Macomb County. The report identifies areas to continually improve our energy systems and mitigate risks associated with aging infrastructure, extreme weather, and security threats. We also want to acknowledge the governor's leadership in her proactive approach to call for this holistic assessment and also her leadership during the energy emergency itself. As you noted in your presentation and reflected, we've got a number of orders to make immediate moves to implement the assessment. We've prioritized action based on the lead times and also other considerations and tried to identify those actions that were most immediately related to the event at hand in January. We look forward to engaging the staff, the governor, the legislature, other state agencies, and stakeholders on these and other next steps to address energy security, mitigate risk, and ensure the reliability of energy for Michigan residents. So thank you again for all the hard work and of the whole team. With that, all those, any additional? Great work. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the order in item 4A3, case number U20147.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved.
Madam Chair, I move the approval of the order in item 4A4, case number U20628.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the order in item 4A5, case number U20629 et al.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the order in item 4A6, case number U20631.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the order in item 4A7, case number U20632.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved.
And Madam Chair, I move approval of item 4B2, case number U20539 et al.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved. Thank you.
Item 4B3 is case number U20075, which involves an application by Consumers Energy Company requesting authority to reconcile its gas cost recovery cost and revenues for the 12-month period ended March 31st, 2018. Staff member Diane Martin is here to describe this order.
Afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners. On June 29, 2018, Consumers Energy Company filed this application seeking approval to reconcile its gas cost recovery costs and revenues for the 12-month period ended March 31st, 2018, pursuant to Section 6H of 1982, Public Act 304. Consumers' revenues exceeded costs, resulting in a $1,028,328 over-recovery. Interest owed by the company to its customers totaled $450,948. The over-recovery and interest combined results in a total cumulative over-recovery of $1,479,277. Staff audited the company's filing and supporting evidence. Purchase and transportation invoices were reviewed for accuracy, and accounts related to the GCR were traced to the company's general ledger. No material discrepancies were found. Staff's review of Consumers' application, filed testimony, and discovery responses confirmed the filed over-recovery amount. Additionally, staff concluded that Consumers' gas purchases were reasonable, prudent, and consistent with the GCR plan approved in case number U18151. Today's order approves Consumers Energy's application for reconciliation of its gas cost recovery for the 12-month period ended March 31st, 2018. This order also authorizes Consumers to roll in $1,479,277 as the beginning balance in its 2018-2019 gas cost recovery reconciliation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the order in case number U-20075.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The order is approved. Thank you, Diane. All right, next up, item 5, public comments. Anyone seeking to address the commission should come forward at this time. just a couple of announcements. Well, first of all, again, welcome to the commission. We don't normally, we're very productive and efficient, but we don't normally have this much activity just getting through a Wednesday. So this is not your typical week. So you definitely hit the ground
Understood.
running.
Yes.
And I just also want to acknowledge earlier this week, Governor Whitmer issued a proclamation acknowledging Lifeline Week. This is a program that provides discounts for eligible low-income customers, also seniors and veterans. It's available for both telephone service and broadband, and we appreciate her leadership and the work of the commission staff to get the word out to customers about the availability of this program and celebrating as part of a national initiative to increase awareness. I also, today's 9/11 and just observed the tragedy, the 18th year since that occurred. And with that, our next commission meeting is September 26th at 1:30 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned.